Jules, lots of questions for you when I come back to you, especially especially Thailand and Malaysia, and of course Vietnam. We'll explore more in detail with you and Ma. Uh, Heading over to Kuntal. Kuntal, you know the whole journey. I mean, we've been working together for almost last 3 years now, and you know all the challenges that an Indian faces while, of course, aiming and having a real wish to diversify into overseas markets. Is there like a broad guideline that you can give our viewers on what are the key considerations that they should have, regardless of the market? As for the Indian rules, what are some of the key considerations they could keep in mind from the taxation perspective?
Yeah, sure, sure. And first of all, Mona, thank you for inviting me for this panel. It's always a pleasure to join such panel. One, it helps you to make yourself aware about what's happening around the marketplace, and you get to also network with experts and other professionals as well. Coming to your question, I think when we are talking about Indians looking at investing outside of India, principally we are looking at two statutes. One is Indian Income Tax Act, and the other one is Foreign Exchange Management Act. And especially the FEMA law, has liberalized over the period of time. So one can do legitimately everything outside of India, barring gambling and doing some kind of prohibited activities. So it's completely easy for any Indian to own property outside of India. Uh, then there are certain options which are available to resident Indian. Either you do it under an LRS window, which is known as a liberalized remittance scheme, or if it is going to be a property outside of India for your business purposes, you can avail the ODI window, which is overseas direct investment window, which is also thing which are automatic route. You don't need to seek any prior approval of the government. So things are in a way quite liberalized, very easy. No doubt there are certain challenges, certain nuances which one should be aware about, because otherwise you may end up non-complying with the relevant regulations. And mind you, the provisions of FEMA are liberalized. That's true. But at the same time, if at all you have violated the provisions of that law, then you are exposed to some fines and penalties, and then you need to probably undergo compounding treatment. But having said that, but I think that it's very easy for any resident Indian to own property outside of India. We have seen in past few years, the need and also demand for clients to have a right structure at place. And barring this even COVID situation, I think we have seen number of people looking to have their second home outside of India, or looking to have property maybe to support their family needs, either for the education of the children or maybe for the better hospital health related support for elderly family member. So there are definitely great opportunities out there. And if we were to just look at two very important numbers, this thought crosses my mind. We talk about COVID and we talk about challenges which every business is facing. There was a recent report which suggests that for the month of October 20 itself, there has been a sale of luxury home transactions in Mumbai to the tune of 500 crores.
Yeah.
That is something close to 50 million pounds. And another important news, I just read Loda developers in UK. They recently made an announcement that they sold a penthouse and two apartments situated in their London project at Mayfair area for the tune of 1,400 crore rupees. So we are talking about 140 million pounds in recent period. So that reflects on the kind of movements which are taking place. I think there is surely and clearly a need and realization by the high net worth individuals on the having a better lifestyle, having space, having luxurious things, so that if at all there are such future recurrences, they know they are going to be able to spend quality time at home, because nobody thought about, you being forced to be indoors, forced to be in house, doing nothing, don't not having access to anything. At that point in time, if you have such amenities within your vicinity or within your residence premises, I think it can be of great advantage.
Kuntal, often, people question, and often there's a real fear around, the whole tax consideration and, the RBI rules, etc., etc. And as a consultant, it takes me a lot of time to, get people to understand that it's just tax. You pay it in your own country, you pay it in any other country. These are standard rules. There's no real, wizardry to this. It's just a simple rule. You follow it and you'll be fine. Is that a simplistic way of talking? Do you agree with that point of view?
Yeah, so
Do
I
you have
think
other thoughts?
I think commercially and rationally, every individual will have to first realize that when there is an income, you will have to pay tax. Now the days where you were able to park your income outside of India, or or you were able to take advantage of the mismatch in the taxing rules, or the gaps in the rules of two or three treaty countries or jurisdiction, you were able to escape tax either legitimately or by evading the law. But those days are over. Now the international tax rules have become more and more strict. There is automatic exchange of information program which has been introduced by all the countries, especially all the major trading partners. So there is going to be a sharing of data, sharing of information. So income earned by a resident Indian anywhere outside of India is definitely going to be reported to the Indian tax authorities. And one will have to also therefore factor in mind that when there is an income, you will have to pay tax on that income. You can't escape that tax liability. But at the same time, India has entered into more than 90 tax treaties with all the important trading partners. And by and large, all these treaty rules provide appropriate relief for resident Indian on the taxes which they would have paid outside of India. So if I was to give an example, that a resident Indian owns a property in UK in his own name, and there is rental income accruing to him at UK, and that rental income is getting taxed at UK, say at the rate of 22% or 25%. And when it comes to taxability of the same rental income for that resident Indian in India, tax rate could be say 40%. Then he will have to pay only differential tax, that is 40%, which is the tax liability in India. From that, he can get a tax credit of 25% of tax paid on the same income at UK. So he would be paying tax only at 15%. So there is no double taxation. So yes, there are taxes. Now you can't, escape.
Stop them.
You
Yeah, yeah.
can't escape that, because those days of tax planning are over. And now you have to be mindful that you will have to be prepared to pay taxes in India.
So, Kuntal, my next question is for you. We know that people from India are exploring a second passport. They are looking to take citizenship in a different country. Um, I just have a very specific question for you. Uh, if there is an HNI family in India that has a X number of assets in India, and then for argument's sake has taken the EB-5 and now has the green card and wishes to go to America, and they become a tax resident in the US. How easy is it for the family to club all of their assets and pool all of their income, and where do they finally pay tax? I mean, if you can throw some light on this process.
Yeah, I think, Mona, I think there we need to have a clarity on repatriation of the sale proceeds of the asset versus repatriation of the income, because the foreign exchange norm and the facility to take money outside of India would vary depending upon the nature of income. And as far as the taxability is concerned, once the Indian has migrated to US and he is going to become a tax resident in US and is going to obtain the residential status of India as a non-resident Indian under the Income Tax Act, then he will not be subject to tax in India on his income at US, but income which has been earned by him in India will be definitely be taxed in India. So India will get a primary right to tax that income which has arisen in India, even though he has become a non-resident. And in US, he will get a credit for the taxes which has been paid by him on that income in India. And there are many other nuances. There are many other challenges factors which he will have to bear in mind: how to move assets, how to have his holding and make it more tax efficient. I think we'll have to look into more facts and more relevant data before one can come to a right structure for him. But overall speaking, I think this is what he should bear in mind.
Now, what if he sells his current assets in India? How easy is repatriation of money, and what are like a broad guideline, or what is the two bits you want to give on repatriation of a originally Indian citizen who has now taken on a second citizenship, revoked his Indian passport, and now wants to repatriate? And the next one is for Kuntal. Kuntal, Mr. Shetty asks, can a resident Indian based out of India buying a home abroad take a mortgage loan abroad? Yes or no? If he does avail a mortgage loan abroad, is this a violation as per the FEMA laws in India?
So there is some kind of gray element to this particular structure. There is not a confirmed denial or confirmed acceptance by the authorities on this. And the way in which I think we have been advising our clients is to look at the circumstances of the client and of the family and probably try and do it under an ODI route, and where you will be able to take advantage of foreign lending as well. So it will purely depend upon the circumstances where the family is, and it is possible that you can still avail loan outside of India to buy the property.
Kuntal, there's one last question for you, which says, which mentions what is the taxation treaty between UK and India. So, Mr. Rathi, I think Kuntal has already addressed it earlier. But Kuntal, if you could just say a line on the taxation treaty between UK and India.
Yeah, so I think India and UK has signed a full-fledged tax treaty where the double taxation can be avoided by the residents of both the countries. So an Indian company or Indian resident having income at UK, which is going to be taxed at UK, will not be subject to the same income again in India. You will get a tax credit for the taxes paid by such Indian company or Indian resident at UK. And when it comes to UK investor arriving income in India, similar provisions shall apply. I think it will also, depend upon the nature of income and the type of income which would be examined before applying the tax treaty.
Thanks, Kuntal.